everybody, welcome back. So my name is Cassie and I am the Evil Secret Ninja, and I read and review books on my channel. I am also a mental health therapist. I work at a prison, and I put a little bit of a psychological spin on some of my book reviews. So today I'm going to do a therapist reaction to The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. And I've done another book by her, I did The Secret History, but I think it's because she's just such a great author when it comes to exploring human experiences. She has a way of exploring kind of the dark side of human nature, and she does it in a really intricate and real way. So The Goldfinch is a book about a boy who, well, it starts out he's in trouble at school, and so his mom is taking him to school. They live in New York. And they have a little bit of extra time, so they decide to go to the art museum. His mother loves the art museum, and there's a display there that she wants to see. I think she's seen it before, but she just loves it, and she just wants to go again and see it and spend a few minutes there before they head to school for his appointment at school. While they are at the art gallery, our main character, Theo Decker, sees this girl with red hair. He's 13. He sees this girl. She's got red hair. He thinks she's pretty. So he decides he's going to follow her around the art gallery a little bit. So he tells his mom he's going to look at this one picture because she's kind of right next to him. And his mom decides she's going to go look at something else. So while she goes to look at something else, there is a bomb that goes off at the art gallery. So Theo wakes up kind of in this chaotic situation. He sees this old man who was the man that was with the girl with the red hair, and he goes to talk to him, and the guy's not doing very well, and he gives him this ring and says, hey, go look up my buddy, and he'll help you out. And he's currently not kind of with it. He seems to be kind of going in and out of experiencing reality, which is obviously a symptom of when someone has gone through a trauma, and also when you're close to death, he's not really quite sure what's going on. And he looks at this painting, and he kind of is really upset by this painting. And so the boy takes the painting, puts it in his backpack, so to try and help this old man feel a little bit better. So after the bombing, Theo gets out of the museum, and he doesn't know what to do. So he decides, well, me and my mom had this plan. We're supposed to meet up at home. So he goes home to wait for her. And she never shows up. So she died in the bombing. Theo considers this event like the defining moment in his life. His mom died, which of course it would be. From a therapeutic standpoint, would be like a major trauma. He's lost his mom. He's experienced an explosion, and he has stolen this priceless work of art. I mean, he didn't steal the painting in a malicious way, but he did steal it. So these events kind of follow him throughout his life and have a big impact on his life. I mean, imagine losing a parent when you're 13. She's a single mom taking care of him in New York. From a therapeutic standpoint, let's look at a couple of things. We'll look at this major traumatic event. How do major traumatic events affect us? Major traumatic events are kind of events that I guess we would see them as defining moments in our life. And Theo really sees this event as a defining moment in his life, that this was the day and the moment that his life went off track. He feels guilty because if it wasn't for him being in trouble at school, they would not have been at the art gallery. He's been abandoned. It's not that his mother meant to abandon him, but she is no longer there. She died in this explosion. He has lost the one person who has taken care of him his entire life, and he's left to kind of find out, like, what do I do now? And he does find other people that care about them, and he just finds that it's not the same. They care about him, but it doesn't ever turn out the way that he wants. He has a friend. He goes to live with his friend for a little while, and things are they're going okay there. It's not a family like he's used to knowing, but it's still a family, and, he's readjusting to his new life when his dad shows up out of the blue. And I love that Donna Tartt kind of puts these things like, oh, you know, sometimes we have these expectations for our lives, or we think, okay, I think I'll be okay. And then something happens that turns everything upside down. And that happens when his dad gets there. Through it all, he's never been able to deal with this trauma. He's never been able to work through the traumatic events that happened to him and the thing that he experienced, because basically nobody, I mean, they try to talk to him, and obviously you get that at first he doesn't want to talk about it, but then they just kind of act like everything should go back to normal, like he should forget this event that changed his entire life. It changed, his life was headed in one direction and it completely went another way because of this incident. So like many people after the end of a traumatic event, he does turn to drugs and alcohol as a way to cope with the loss of his mom, the experience of being in a bombing situation, and his guilt over stealing this priceless painting. Obviously his addiction develops over time, and it grows over time and changes over time, but it also becomes something that defines him because he has very few connections with other people in his life that are consistent. It kind of goes unchecked. Nobody is checking up with him to see how he's doing, like, how are you progressing, how's your life going. When he grows up, he has this fiance, but he's not really able to connect with her. He even finds out that she's cheating on him, and like, he knows that it's not okay, but he also is like, well, he doesn't really have like a reaction to it because he's so wrapped up in his addiction. He's so wrapped up in this trauma that happened that he never worked through, that he doesn't see that, oh, maybe I shouldn't be with somebody that really is only marrying me because her mom wants her to. So anyway, his addiction kind of goes unchecked. His grief and trauma never really quite get worked through. You know, at the end, there's kind of an attempt at a reconciliation or a closure to kind of like help him wrap up the trauma. And even though he goes through this event and kind of goes, well, you know, things are better. I don't feel so horrible anymore. He still has a lot of problems associated with his trauma. But at the end, at least after he tries to make amends for everything, tries to do what he can to make things right, he's starting to get back on track of growing and trying to improve his life and become a better person in his work and personal life. Okay, so that's kind of my look at The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. It was a really great story. It was really well written, and I love the way that she kind of explores parts of human nature and how trauma and different things like that affect us. The characters were really well written, and it's really like a character-focused driven novel because we really get to know these characters and what their nuances and, you know, the things that make them individuals. I have to say, like, as a therapist who works a lot with addiction, whenever I read addiction, it still just kind of breaks my heart a little bit. You know, working with people who are addicts, you really see where it all goes, and it doesn't go to very good places. You know, and I constantly want the people that I work with who are addicts to do better. I recognize like how complicated addiction is, and how much getting better and doing better is such a hard thing to do. But I always want them to have a better life. Most of the time they can see that their addiction has not helped them in their life. It has caused so many more problems. It has caused a lot of struggles in their life. Even though the book didn't end with him like being over his addiction, it was that he was finally kind of working on it. That aspect of it is a little bit complicated because addiction is a very complicated problem. So that's kind of my review of the Goldfinch. Put a little bit of a therapist spin on it. And if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.